Welcome back to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is July 15th, 2020, and this is episode 48. Hope you guys are doing great out there. Today we're going to look at another Antarctic Press release called Offworld 2. And if you caught my last review, I can't remember, it was a few reviews ago, maybe 44 or so, episode 44, I did Offworld 1. And that just came out last week. So these are back to back. According to my comic book store, the independents are really pushing the product out right now. They're making hay while the big two are kind of being a little bit slow on the draw. So I guess they had these ready to go, and they were just waiting for the comic book shops to open up, and they are releasing them. So it also looks to be that they've got issues 3, 4, and 5 already completed, and they'll also be on the way. Now, if you tuned into my last episode, you know that this is actually 2 stories. They do the flip on this. So on this one side, it is Hazel by Colin Fogel, and he did everything: the writing, the drawing, the inking, the lettering, just everything. And as you can see, he's got a terrific style. It's very, to me, it's very European looking. Manga looking. The other side is European. So let's flip over and take a look at the other side. And this is the same 2 artists and author that took place on the first one. It's a little harder to see in this one. Let's zoom in a little closer so you can see some of the work here. And this is Interstellar Dust, and it's by C.J. Hudson and drawn by Igor Wolski. And it's hard to tell. I thought at one point that maybe these 2 stories would interact, but I'm not so sure now. I'm thinking they're on a different course, although there are some similar themes running through it. Hazel is one of three characters that are in a police unit, and they're all female, and they serve the underground areas of New York way in the future. Let's see if we can get a date here. Here we go. 2250, and they call it the DBTS headquarters. I didn't like this story as much as I did in the first issue. The first issue, it shows Hazel to be kind of a loose cannon. In this one, there's just too much talking, not too much went on. The art is really nice nonetheless, and it was a pretty quick read. You can get a look at this full shot here, but I can't remember if there's any action. We'll go through the whole thing real quick. I can't remember if there was any action though in this one. I don't think there was any. There was a lot of action in the other story. Oh, there was one action scene. I totally forgot about this scene. So she's starting to get accosted, and she has some kind of like razor blade or not saw blade device that totally hacks up her assailants in this thing. So the story didn't really progress too far. They're still investigating the mining operation that's going on below New York. And there's a lot of talking, unfortunately, in this issue. But the art is awesome. The characters are pretty neat looking. The coloring is interesting. You can see in an apartment building how they've kind of drawn that. And she's paying homage to her father, who is also a police officer, yet they haven't really done his backstory yet. And you can see the police department looks like it's on top of a garbage dump, but that's where she works from. So she's on the right side of the law. They really don't go into much more story. So if you're in it, you probably have to be a little patient with this story, I would think. But the drawings in it are beautiful. I cannot take that away. Just really, really nice. And then they end it with, I guess it's kind of a cliffhanger, but these guys aren't actually doing too much. But there's a gang that's hanging out in the mines, and they just kind of introduce them at this time. And you'll get in this kind of like a ninja mutant gangs. And I think these guys are underwater right now, so that's why it's kind of a little bit murky. But the police officers do wear breathing apparatus. These people do not seem to be wearing any, so maybe there's some kind of mutant. I do not know, but hopefully we'll find out in the next exciting issue. And we know. And just to show you, they did the same thing again that they did in the first, and I think this is a real waste. I think they should have avoided this at all costs. They could have put a poster in here. This just seems like a real big waste. I don't know what you would do with this. It kind of reminds me of back when I was a kid, they'd sell these sheets of paper to use for book covers, and you would fold it a certain way to protect your textbooks and elementary and junior high. So she's a police officer on this side. The other side, Offworld, this is actually taking place in an outer space prison. And it kind of introduces, I believe it to be a new character. They're all in different cells in here, so I'm assuming that they're going to be some kind of getting together at some point, all the prisoners, but they're very isolated. Now this character at the top, she was in the first one. She's got the long tail, very voluptuous, and she was arrested because she was a sex worker on Earth. And this is the new character. I'm not sure why he's there. They give a little bit of backstory coming up, why he was sent there. He has this, this is the one that looks more European style to me. He gets, there's some gang beating him up just for, I guess he owes them something, or he didn't do something they were supposed to do. They're going to take him out. But at the last minute, right when he's going to get shot, a police officer shows up, and there's a little bit of a gunfight. And just as they blast the police officer, and it looks like our hero, our protagonist here, is going to get it for sure, another group of police officers show up and start firing, and they think everybody's dead, but apparently they're not. They both kind of wake up at the same time and start fighting again, even though the police officers are right there. So it's enough to get him stuck into prison. Or that off-world prison. Now, then they switch to back to the prison, and there's an issue with something going on the ship, and something's going on in engineering, and they really don't tell you what's happening at this point. They're kind of just going through this whole, well, we better check it out. And they send the robot, that's the engineer, down to check it out, and they have a reading that could be a breach in the hull, and he goes all the way down, and they just show what's on the other side of the store, and the things are kind of gooey and squishy and maybe hot and lavally. I'm not sure what that is exactly, but yeah, I mean, it might still have something to do with the first story. I don't know, but it is a to be continued. I'm kind of thinking now that they will not be joined together at some point, even though they seem to be taking place at generally the same time. And the police officers from both stories were kind of dressed similar. So who knows? Maybe they'll bring it together. I think that'd be a good idea if they did. And here's an ad for a animation gaming convention in South Texas. Sound Japan. It's going to be in September 4th through the 6th. I don't know if that's going to actually happen because we are in like bad shape right now. And I guess I'm guessing they paid for the ad well before this coronavirus was going to take off. But it'd be a shame that we missed this year. I would not be attending this particular one, but it looks pretty cool. But that's pretty much it. I think there might be some previews also in Antarctic. We can kind of look at that real quick. They got some horror comics that look pretty gruesome there. And then they have some ninja. Okay, and then Offworld. Here's their advertising Offworld 4. There was no ad for Offworld 3, but I think there might have been in the last issue. Something called William. I don't know what that's all about. The Last Zombie, Gold Digger, Teether, 4th. I'm not going to even say that. Crimson Scorpion. And this one looks like it could be busting out on the scene pretty soon. Patriotica. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Let's get in there. You can see her comic a little bit. $9.99 for the variant. Whoa. And then they also advertising Offworld number 5, which we mentioned already. So it's 2 stories in one. It's kind of a good idea. The art's beautiful. I'm going to continue to get it. I am enjoying it. I can't recommend it as much as I can. The first issue, I'm hoping that it will get better as time goes by, and that the story just gets further along in each issue, because it seems like you just get into it and it just ends. And that was the case for both stories this time too. So we got Hazel and Interstellar Dust. So it's kind of like a half recommend. I think you need to get the first issue to really piece it together, though. I'm sure this will be out in a trade someday as well, because the art is really nice. So this is Indie Comics Jones signing off from the Temple of Tomes. Be good to everybody. Be kind to everybody. And we'll see you next time. Oh, and if you haven't had a chance, check out episode 47. It's about the Marvel variant covers. Very surprising move by Marvel. They're just plain ugly. They're very generic looking, and I heard it's a dig on DC for having Comic Book Day switched to Tuesday for them. So we'll see how well it plays out for Marvel in the long run on that little shenanigan. So take care.